Peace and positive. This is Amelia A. Altal, aka Emily MC, author of Y'all Not Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind. And today's topic is on fashion, personal style, adornment, the impact of appearance, and whether there's such a thing as getting dressed for mental health. Now, before we get into some clips from the global community, we're looking at how what we put on our bodies externally, via the clothes, shoes, and accessories we wear, affects us internally, whether by choice, association, or availability. We're here to acknowledge the psychological impact of clothing and adornment on our emotional lives, spirits, and daily doing. We're here to examine where putting on or pulling back visually is a part of life and human living. Now, let's again get some scientific stats in and out of the way up top here, all right? So, according to a 2022 Strike Magazine article titled Mental Health and Fashion, a connection you wouldn't expect, quote, Northwestern University did a study about the connection between the two, citing how 96% of participants reported that their emotional state changes depending on the clothes they choose to wear. Psychologically, there are many reasons for this, one in particular showing how different clothing choices can trick your mind into altering your emotional state, known as enclothed cognition. One experiment studying this discovered how participants performed their job better when wearing a lab coat, as they associated that wardrobe choice with success and competence, end quote. As well, according to the Association for Psychological Science, quote, a study published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology found that wearing formal or structured clothing shifts your cognitive processing. It promotes broader, more global thinking and can induce a greater sense of authority and focus, end quote. It's widely understood now, especially with color theory and the aptly named trend of, quote, dopamine dressing, that clothes may not change what we think, but will definitely change how we feel. And anyone who grew up in a street gang, private society, or immigrant community knows that styles of dress also have a lot to do with who, where, and how we fellowship, stay grounded, and identify ourselves. Now, we took a brief look on the impact of fast fashion in the Day 14 is Everything Replaceable on Disposability Culture episode. However, here we're stripping back to the fundamental experiences of fashion itself. Hip-hop has had a long-time love affair with visual style in every decade since its formal inception out of the 1970s underground. Yet, it's come even further than dressing for survival, self-concept, and self-esteem, all the way to capsule collections and rappers as creative directors of major fashion houses. Now, this may sound like nothing until you remember or study where the people who originated hip-hop are from, the history of economic exploitation, as hip-hop scholar Dr. Trisha Rose so eloquently puts it, and what they were doing prior to hip-hop being a thing in America and setting the world on fire. One could say even when it was popular through its several golden ages and we got subculture waves like the Lowheads with Ralph Lauren Polo or other flips into hip-hop uniforms like Kangol, Carhartt, Timberland, and the basic hoodie. Yes, everyone remembered to thank hip-hop for popularizing the hoodie, let's keep it a buck, and rise and love Trayvon Martin. That the hip-hop community has in a way always been dressing with mental health in mind. I remember hearing rap legend, style vanguard, and legendary woman in hip-hop Lil' Kim discussing in an early career interview how fashion was something she put a lot of time and money into. Now, this struck me not because of her words, but her demeanor and body language as she said the words. She was dead ass. She was speaking from the heart about something that meant a lot to her. It was like a PhD course for her. Every outfit was a piece of her dissertation. It's remarkable how someone who's battled so many mental and emotional challenges in life, love, and industry has seemed to always channel and express who she is and what she aspires to be through her highly creative and curated self-presentation. Lil' Kim, of course, being known for her fearless, unpredictable, sensual, and iconic looks in a vanguard of style, including the likes of stylist Misa Hilton, Naja Battle, Missy Elliott, June Ambrose, and many more. And as we touched on the legacy of Dapper Dan in the Day 21 Creative Intelligence episode, hip-hop is full of style innovators and industry leaders from Carl Kanai and FUBU to Fat Farm, Kimora Lee, and Baby Phat. Every brand born of the culture had more than an intention to make money or occupy a lane. These were energetic imprints which further shaped the culture. And we do the same for ourselves every time we dress it up or dress it down, Now, as someone who's always identified with the creativity, ingenuity, and innovation of clothing, whether because of low to no budgets, forcing workarounds, or learning my changing body, or admiring the work of other creatives, this topic may seem small or insignificant, but nah, she resonates, she gives. They say fashion comes and goes, but style is forever. In the perspective that fashion is more so about products and trends and time periods, and style is more so about the soul, vision, embodiment, and expression coming through looks and outfits, it's not hard to draw a line between the everyday task or art of, quote, getting dressed and mental, psychological, and emotional health. Getting dressed is a daily ritual, whether we're attentive to its process or not. Carelessness, mindfulness, anxiety, creativity, and intention often find their way into the process. And just like we explored in the Day 18 video on hygiene, our state of dress is often one of the earliest signs or methods of addressing mental health imbalances. Getting dressed also evolves with our state of mind over time, syncing with our personal phases, eras, and points of view. I've experimented with looks pretty much all my life and distinctly remember a couple of years ago when I suddenly bloomed into what I could call my head wrap era, involving flipping my growing collection of fabrics gifted to me from my family's trips to Uganda into pieces I could wear functionally and create new looks from. Now, what also ended up happening was I noticed a huge energy shift in the act of covering my head and hair in public, a shift that was really intriguing, subtle, and yet powerful. It was allowing me to reclaim something I didn't even know was missing or off, and it changed the way people interacted with me too. It also connected me to the spiritual lineage of cultures where covering the head and the hair is an energetic principle of spiritual protection, and this shift in attire was helping me navigate a very challenging time in my life as well. It was also sparking my creativity and lifting my mood, knowing that even without buying any new clothes, I had so many colors, patterns, and visual motifs to play with. Getting dressed became a huge tool in my mental health toolbox, whether working with or against depression, anxiety, and PTSD. There's also the facet of adornment in mental and energetic health. Now, adorn is one of my favorite words, and someone made a comment to me once about, quote, how I adorn myself. Now, once I looked into the word, I realized how much ritual is involved in the simple act of getting dressed, and ironically or fittingly, it also reinforced to me a classic Prince song called Adore. Now, being a magnum opus of sorts, I'd heard so many people hype up and give this song the stamp of, quote, baby-making music. But it's also, in my opinion, one of Prince's greatest compositions, and I was struck by how close the words adore and adorn are to each other. Now, we can draw a line between the meaning, intentions, and expressions of that song and that of what it is to dress and prepare oneself. Essentially, the song Adore is playing when we intentionally or even passively adorn ourselves. We are singing to the best of us. We are happily in self-care, regardless of the items, quality, sourcing, price points, or accessories, but especially when those things are meaningful or enhanced. There's also the impact of common phrases like, quote, dress for success, which I've seen informally dozens of times, but also formally in a dress for success program at the High School for Economics and Finance in New York City. There's also the boundaries of when wardrobe is an attempt or objective to change someone's entire personality, and I detail the dangers of this in the Ladies Who Lunch with Immortal Technique chapter in my book. Clothing can make us part of a community which affirms self-concept, self-identity, shared values, self-worth, belonging, protection, and quality of life. We not only mark ourselves with clothing, but in the cultural literacy sense, connect ourselves to communities across the world and all of time. Storytelling through clothes is also a method of protecting the keepers, originators, and leading stewards of culture by ensuring history is told accurately and valuable people are cited and included instead of left out or forgotten. And one more note on the impact of putting on, especially in public. I'll never forget the Sex and the City episode where publicist Samantha Jones told her pre-famous acting client headed for a televised interview to at least put on a pair of designer sunglasses with his very plain, pared down tank top and denim jeans, saying, quote, it's MTV. If you're not wearing something the kids can't afford, how will they know to look up to you? End quote. Well, therein lies another layer to this topic in the act of dressing down, paring down, taking away, and choosing not to adorn. This is echoed in MF Doom's timeless reminder that he was, quote, your favorite rapper without a chain, end quote. And where the Clips and Kendrick Lamar put the latest spin on hip-hop's long line of double metaphors about the status quo of jeweled necklaces on a rapper as the, quote, chains and whips, end quote, of the ongoing Black experience. There's also the callback of hip-hop in that weird period between 1989 and 1994, where prior to its full departure from niche subculture to mass commercialization, it was a lot more native tongues happening, and gold ropes and Cuban links were massively replaced with handcrafted African medallion necklaces. Now, sometimes it's the dress and adornments we don't wear that's helping or just impacting our mental health. And of course, sometimes we're in a day, moment, or season where we have zero bandwidth or mental capacity for fashion or style at all. And we're in fact dressing for mental survival. Yet sometimes it's not a total shutdown of the mind. Sometimes even in low mental states, we're still making conscious decisions about what we finna wear. And these decisions are not just about comfort and function, but also making a statement on our actual state of mind. I detail a bit of how clothing strategy made its way into my mental health toolbox box while detained in a psychiatric ward in the I Know Why the Caged Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight chapter in my book. And on a lighter note, sometimes rejecting certain molds or items of clothing can be a help to our mental health and mentality in the form of rejecting trends, surface level optics, or honing deeper meaning in our lives. Whether it's the difference in what athletes and regular gym goers wear to exercise, or the fact that clothing brands often seek out dancers to be their commercial influencers. It just goes to show that dressing or not dressing in a certain way impacts the mind and success. It all comes back to intention. Now, the 1984 version of Annie is one of my favorite feel-good socio-political movies, and it made a point to remind us with a cheeky musical number that we're, quote, never fully dressed without a smile, end quote. Well, whether or not we have a smile today, and whether we're dressing in accordance with how we feel or how we want to feel, it's important to remember that ultimately the feelings underneath the clothes are the real cause of effects. Now, we might avoid or dismiss the need to look or dress a certain way. However, we must never skip that walk down the runways of our own mind, spirit, and soul. Now, if you're following along with my original book, this is the day 22 quote from page 62. And based on today's topic, here is prompt number 23. Thank you all for your support of Y'all Not Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind. And without further ado, let's roll the clips and hear from the global community about the impact and significance of dressing and undressing for better quality of life and mental health. Peace.
You know what? I want to speak about fashion with mental health because it's so important, because a lot of people speak about mental health, but I wanted to bring in the fashion element because a lot of times when people see me, they're like, oh my God, you're so happy. You're always, you're so creative, but no one really understands that I suffered from mental health myself. I was depressed, and I've literally just come out of depression a few years now. I've been getting counselling. It's been like for 5 years, like on and off, and it really means a lot to me. And there's a lot of us that we are also going through mental health right now because we're on lockdown and we've had mental health, but a lot of people are so scared to talk about it. Like, it's quite embarrassing, especially if you're Jamaican or you're black. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, Jamaican culture is little kids must be seen and not heard.
Depression and clothes mix well together because clothing has always tied to how people experience the world. When someone feels heavy, slow, or withdrawn, the clothes they choose often reflect that. Loose silhouettes, dark colors, heavy fabrics. These choices aren't always about fashion. They're about comfort and protection. In psychology, clothing can act as a small layer of control. When your internal state feels unstable, the things you put on your body can create a sense of stability. That's why people reach for familiar pieces when they're struggling. A hoodie, a jacket, something oversized. The garment becomes predictable. You know how it feels, how it fits, how it moves. That familiarity reduces friction when everything else feels difficult. And sometimes that's enough to help people get through the day.
You don't just wear clothes. The moment you get dressed, your body shifts state. As soon as you put something on, your brain updates two things: how your body feels and how you expect other people will see you. If something restricts or irritates you, your nervous system stays slightly alert. If it fits well and feels aligned, your body relaxes. At the same time, your brain runs a quiet prediction. How will I be read? Will I be respected? Will I be judged? Will I feel like a clown? That prediction shifts posture, eye contact, even how much space you take up. That's not vanity, that's regulation. Clothing carries meaning, and your brain links meaning to performance. Sometimes getting dressed is behavioral activation, a signal of agency. But if your style is driven by approval, it turns into self-monitoring. You stop feeling your body from the inside and start observing yourself from the outside. That's when presence turns into anxiety. So ask yourself, does this calm my body? Does this reflect who I'm becoming? Am I expressing or protecting? Same clothes, different relationship. And that relationship shapes your mental state.
I'm sitting here driving, leaving from a school, and I'm thinking about how fashion has really saved my life on many different occasions. And you may hear that and you may be like, bitch, okay, now you reaching. Now you milking the cow, trying to get some milk out. You already know ain't no more milk in it. No, but stay with me, hear me out. I literally struggled with mental health for the majority of my life. A lot of that, I didn't even know I was struggling with mental health. And then the other half is like, okay, now I gotta deal with this shit. And throughout every storm, throughout every piece of my journey, I always made sure that when I stepped out, you was gonna be able to give me a compliment for my outfit. And it was not to flex or stun on nobody or nothing like that. It's just like, that's just naturally a coping skill for me. I don't know, like, who can relate?
Fashion can improve mental health. There's a concept called dopamine dressing, which basically means wearing clothes that make you feel good. And that is what inspired all of the clothes that I designed for my new art fashion brand. Art, mental health, and fashion.
Let's put together an outfit for a day where your mental health may not be the best and you need to just feel like you're being hugged all day. It's one of those days. For your base, I highly suggest comfortable bra. Stretchy, comfortable pants that won't drag on the floor. Sure, that won't be too fuzzy, that you can wear whatever bra you want to with. You know, one of those that if you wear a black bra, it's not going to show through, especially if you're going to work. My preference for this is oversized because I just want to feel like clothes are on me, but they're not really bothering me much. I don't want to feel overstimulated. I don't want to feel like I have anything on. So this is the perfect shirt for that. Then, because I want to feel like I'm being hugged all day and I don't want to be cold at work, I'm going to throw on this vest that is also oversized. By the way, do you want to see what my face looked like this morning? Here it is. I'm telling you, just everything kind of compiles when you're not having the best mental health days. So this is why choosing your outfit wisely can really help you to kind of push through the day. I got new shoes. So there was an indication that my mental health was not great. But they're going to be a great serotonin boost because look at the color. So let's just put these on. Let's add some perfume because we need to smell good when we're not feeling good. As you can see, I already added my accessories. I have these kind of fun earrings. Not new here, you know. Carla Rockmore bracelet, my ring, wedding ring watch. Let's do lip. Here is the whole outfit. I feel like the bright shoes give it a little something something without me feeling like uncomfortable, right? Sneakers, this is perfect. I'm being hugged. I'm being comfortable today. Just because I'm having a not so great mental health week doesn't mean I can't have a great day today. And I think just getting dressed and putting together an outfit that makes me happy is already helping. I hope you have a wonderful day today. Don't forget, the best outfit is the one that feels like you.
Hi, this is what I wear on a depression day. First accessories, I just have my glasses and my nose ring. I don't feel like wearing anything else, not even my wedding ring. I don't feel like it. Huge win though. I brushed my teeth, did my hair, and I did my skincare. I might not have showered for a couple days, but at least I'm done. And I do smell good. I have deodorant and everything on, so I've gotten all around. Outfit, I have my husband's sweatshirt that I stole and leggings. That's it. Yeah. This is what I look like 99% of the time. At least I still look cute, but comfy, you know? That's what we're going for today. Not trying to have anything be too much. I used to always struggle in silence and bottle it all up. I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm not hiding it anymore. I feel like shit today. I have depression, I have anxiety. That's me, and you guys are gonna know about it. The things we're doing today to combat my depression is going for a walk with my friend and my son and her son and hanging around the house, maybe doing some shopping and baking.
So this may be a weird video for some people, probably not a shared experience when it comes to anxiety. I don't know. I just know my own anxiety from the inside out, kind of like we exist together. Maybe forever. I don't know. Anyway, so I dress up for my anxiety. People dress for their lifestyles. I do too. And anxiety is a part of my lifestyle as well. There's specific pieces I wear for a reason that may be odd to some people. Like I made a video of my favorite shoes that I lost during a hurricane/flood. My coin purse shoes. And this is why it's so good to shop in person, because I would have never got them online. In person, when I saw them, I said, this little elderly shoe is for me. This is me. And when I tried it on, it was the most perfect orthopedic shoe. When I wore them, it was a comfort that I had that I can't really explain beyond this. And I was really heartbroken when I lost them. My summers were never the same. So I wanted to show some of my anxiety-friendly items or outfits. The way I dress can induce anxiety, and other things can too, but I want to focus on dressing up because I don't see people talk about it. So for me, I cannot have my stomach showing if I'm going to be around a crowd of people or if I'm like grocery shopping, stuff like that. When I first found these Fashion Nova jeans in 2014, 2015, I couldn't stop repurchasing them. They do wear down faster than more expensive jeans. Working on finding a great quality of jeans that look like this. I'm least likely to have an anxiety or panic attack if I'm dressed in a way that's modest to me. So high-rise jeans and a shirt that meets at the waist, me and Converse go way back. So I'll pair these with a very plain outfit. I try to make up for my plainness by doing my hair and adding accessories that are comfortable. So even though I enjoy seeing really fancy dressed up outfits on other women, I cannot do it. Because we compromise. Anxiety gets what she wants sometimes. But I will panic and pass out in somebody's store and scare everybody. And we don't want that, so we compromise.
Hello and welcome to my fashion psychology series where I use scientific research to explain the deeper meaning behind clothes. From a psychological perspective, it's important to dress according to your most authentic self. For example, if you consider yourself to be fearless and bold, but you make very conservative fashion choices, a discrepancy will exist between the reflection in the mirror and the real you. Psychologists call this self-discrepancy theory. Applying this theory to fashion, we can interpret it as a discrepancy between who you are and how you choose to dress, which can result in a range of nasty side effects, including a lowering of self-esteem and even a lack of pride. Even if you make the effort to level up in your life, the profound relationship between clothing and self means that if your style doesn't evolve with you, these nasty side effects could remain. This is one of the reasons why you feel bad when you wear something you put very little thought into. When you bind yourself to outfits that are just not you, you're actually encouraging more self-discrepancy and making yourself feel less than. But when you start dressing according to your authentic self, you'll notice a change in your mood because you finally achieved alignment between your internal feelings and the reflection in the mirror. Your idea of your authentic self is ever changing because as humans we're constantly evolving and your style should evolve with you.
Have you ever wondered why there's an unspoken but widely accepted style in every subculture? Groups develop specific uniforms because clothing becomes the shared operating system for identity. It sets expectations, establishes belonging, and shapes behavior. Take hip-hop. Chains, sunglasses, and sleeveless silhouettes all signified cultural economics. Chains emerged as a proof of portable achievement in environments where status wasn't given. Psychology studies note that oversized silhouettes shift posture and movement, which affects rhythm, swagger, and even delivery. The body changed, the bars followed. In tech, hoodies, t-shirts, and denim all align with cognitive load theory, reducing small daily decisions to preserve bandwidth. And Stanford research found that informality in tech signals competence. The uniform becomes functional, part of the work itself. The through line is simple. Studies show that wearing clothing tied to a role shifts confidence, creativity, risk-taking, and even linguistic patterns. Now, identity priming takes it a step further. When cultural symbols or silhouettes activate a role, behavior adjusts to match. The same happens when designers wear all black or people in finance step into navy tailoring. That's clothing as a behavioral setting, and that's the spirit of dressing.
The combination of fashion plus mental health is creating the next billion-dollar wave on Shopify. Let me show you. For example, brands like Comfort are driving over 7.8 million monthly visitors to their site, which on Shopify, this usually equates to $10 to $20 million per month or more. Now, there's a hidden smaller trend in this category called dopamine dressing, which is absolutely blowing up. Look at this chart. This dopamine fashion trend that I found on ShoppyLab.ai is all about fashion that literally just makes you feel happy. Think of bold colors and bold styles that boost your dopamine, which end up boosting your mood. Anytime fashion crosses into psychology or wellness, it creates billion-dollar markets.
Hip-hop went from this all the way to this. Back in the 90s, hip-hop fashion was all about bigger and louder. We focused on baggy pants, oversized shirts, and sneakers were the norm. And brands like Fubu and Cockney weren't just clothing lines, they were black-owned labels that represented the underground culture of hip-hop. These designers were creating fashion for us, by us, giving black culture a platform and voice in the fashion world. Now, fast forward to today, hip hop is more so focused on sleek and tailored looks, and of course, high luxury brands. We're talking high designer brands like Balenciaga, Off-White, and Louis Vuitton. Streetwear has collided with luxury fashion. We don't see any black-owned brands leading the way like before. What happened to that underground cultural representation? How does that shift affect new black designers trying to break through in today's hip-hop? And let's be real, the price of clothing nowadays is astronomical. In the 90s, everyone could rock these styles without breaking the bank. Now, hip-hop's become a luxury affair, and a single outfit could set you back thousands. What does this mean for the culture? Has the fashion moved too far from its roots?
Can't talk about the history of hip-hop fashion and streetwear without talking about this legend, Karl Kani. The brand was founded by Carl Williams, who grew up in Flatbush, Brooklyn. At 16, Karl began designing clothes without studying fashion or tailoring. He actually learned the craft through his father's tailoring company. Karl's biggest question as a designer was, could he make it as the Ralph Lauren of the streets? It gave him the idea of creating a mantra, can I, which eventually would become the name Karl Kani. Karl officially launched the brand Karl Kani in 1989, basing it on hip-hop culture, fashion, and music. It later took a random run-in with Yo MTV's Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. You were on Yo MTV Raps. That was one of the best endorsements within hip-hop culture, as this was a show that everybody watched. And this led to artists like Nas, Snoop Dogg, and even Tupac Shakur, who was the biggest endorser at the time. He actually did the campaign photo shoot for them in the 90s for free. So Karl Kani became a huge staple in 90s hip-hop and fashion culture. Everything from like the baggy jeans, denim jackets, the hoodies, the logo was literally everywhere. So before all your favorite streetwear brands and celebrity endorsed brands, Karl Kani actually built the blueprint, that intersection between hip-hop and fashion, hip-hop streetwear. He helped create it, and he's still influencing fashion today.
Here's 5 things you didn't know about Carhartt. Carhartt was a purebred workwear brand made strictly for manual laborers. At the time, American workers needed durable clothing that was affordable and lasted through years of wear and tear. Then, when World War I broke out, Carhartt produced uniforms for the military and also workwear for women that were filling in at the factories. The brand is so tied to American values that politicians are often seen wearing Carhartt on the campaign trail to seem more aligned with working class voters. Then, during the 1980s, Carhartt became really popular in the hustling scene. The deep pockets on Carhartt jackets went from carrying tools to carrying graffiti cans and other things. Plus, they were good for standing outside for long periods of time in the cold, making it popular for a whole new demographic and seamlessly integrating into the streetwear lifestyle. Then, they became a staple for rap music and skateboarding in the 90s. A booming hip-hop culture took to Carhartt as part of its uniform, mixed with other hip-hop staples like Timberland boots, Dapper Dan's Logo Mania, gold chains, and more. Then, in 2006, Carhartt collaborated with Bape and has since collabed with other huge streetwear brands. It has been seen on rappers like 50 Cent, A$AP Rocky, Eminem, and Kanye West.
They didn't want black kids wearing this brand, so hip-hop turned it into a legend. Back in the 1980s and 90s, Ralph Lauren represented rich white America, country clubs, polo matches, and elite lifestyles. To a lot of kids in New York's streets, polo looked like a world they were never supposed to be part of. But instead of ignoring the brand, they took it over. Black and Latino crews like the Low Lifes from Brooklyn started wearing Polo Ralph Lauren everywhere. Bright jackets, rare sweaters, rugby shirts, the louder the fit, the better. And it wasn't just about looking rich, it was about power. Wearing polo became a statement. We belong anywhere we want. Soon, hip-hop artists helped push the brand even further. Legends like Nas, Raekwon, and Wu-Tang Clan turned polo into part of rap culture forever. The crazy part is, a brand once connected to exclusion became one of the biggest symbols of hip-hop fashion. Today, vintage polo pieces sell for thousands, and the look still influences rappers, streetwear, and fashion worldwide.
Ralph Lauren just released Oak Bluffs, a collection celebrating Black history, but decades earlier, Brooklyn street crews gave polo its cool and the brand ignored it. In the late 80s, the Low Lives made polo their uniforms, sweaters, ski gear, jackets, all head-to-toe Ralph. Hip-hop icons like Raekwon and Thurston Howell III wore it proudly, flipping a prep brand into street culture. Polo became hip-hop fashion without ever asking for it. But Ralph Lauren stayed silent. No campaigns, no shout-outs, just benefiting from the culture's free marketing. The street built its brand's cool factor, and polo Polo acted like it wasn't happening. Fast forward to today, and the Oak Bluffs collection celebrated a historic Black beach community in the Massachusetts. For the first time, Ralph Lauren openly honored Black American heritage, a major shift from ignoring hip-hop's influence. The lowlives gave Polo its edge, and the Oak Bluffs showed the brand finally recognizing the culture decades later. So what do you think? Was Ralph Lauren fine in ignoring the lowlives because of its street connection, or should they embrace it like they did with the Oak Bluffs?
For me, there's certain images that are frozen in time. Images that said so much without saying a word. Like Prodigy on that Mobb Deep Infamous cover. He was rocking them Barclays. Them joints looked like armor. They were tanky, street. And then him and Hav were surrounded by the clique on the rooftop. They were outside before that phrase even existed. Those kicks weren't just fashion. That was Queensbridge captured in a photo. Diamond D, Stunts Blunts and Hip Hop album cover. He's sitting on the steps with the crew, playing dice, rocking the Jordan 7 Bordeaux's with that green leather. Then he had the Oakland A hat. You see that cover, and again, it perfectly captures that Bronx grit. Raekwon, pick the photo of your choice. But there's one in particular that's one of my favorites, and it's when Ray was rocking the Nike ACG Zoom Terra Surtigs. Ray's easily one of the best to ever do it when it comes to the sneaker shit. But that ACG boot sneaker hybrid, it said I'm stylish, but I'm ready for war. It matched everything about the Wu. They were rugged, colorful, layered, and unpredictable.
Ever since he came onto the music scene back in 2004 with his debut album College Dropout, we got our first glimpse with this unique rapper. Instead of conforming to the stereotypical rapper style that we're used to, Kanye appeared on the scene wearing preppy Ralph Lauren polo beard sweatshirts with khaki chinos, baggy jeans, Louis Vuitton loafers, and his ever-present statement gold crucifix. We also saw a lot of outfits consisting of brightly colored rugby pullovers and contrasting striped Oxford shirts, topping it off with what was at the time his signature backpack, topping off his outfit. With College Dropout, Kanye not only changed the sound of hip-hop, he also altered its course stylistically.
What's up, kids? Let's talk about Kendrick Lamar's style. He uses fashion as a deliberate tool for storytelling, layering his visuals with symbolism that demands a closer look. Take his use of militant imagery, tailored coats with military silhouettes, symbolic embellishments, and utilitarian colors. Then there's how he repurposes classic West Coast aesthetics to reclaim and redefine survival as art. Even when he sits front row at the LB fashion show, it's to tell a story. He also draws from broader art and cultural references, using jewelry, accessories, and even color palettes to evoke themes of resilience, history, and introspection. Kendrick Lamar transforms fashion into a medium for storytelling, using it to challenge perceptions of identity, masculinity, and history. His style carries the same depth and intentionality as his lyrics, making every choice a statement.
Welcome back to Cultural Aesthetics 101, Black Women, Hip Hop, and Fashion. About the required reading, Dressed in Dreams by Tanisha C. Ford. Why was the leather jacket highly revered? In Chapter 2 of Dressed in Dreams, Ford talks about her grandfather and how his generation saw the leather jacket as something very serious. It was associated with war to him. You didn't just throw a leather jacket on because you thought it was cute. The leather jacket also was one of those things that you see biker gangs wear, and you see bad guys on TV wear, and you see mobsters wear. It was like the leather jacket was one of those things. You meant business when you put one on. Now, in our community, leather jacket meant something totally different. Thanks to the Black Panther Party, the leather jacket was a uniform of resistance. It became a visual statement of strength and defiance. And the leather jacket just carried weight. When you got one, you meant business. So how does all of that tie into the next lesson? Birth of a movement, Black women in hip hop's early style revolution? Let me get into it. 1987, Salt and Pepper hits the scene with a very distinct look. They were wearing kente print hats and leather jackets. Afrocentric prints in hip hop wasn't a new thing with them. It was something that hip hop artists used to speak to the audience, saying, we Black, we know we Black, and we proud to be Black. It was kind of like how the dashiki was used in the 60s and 70s to display Black pride. Now let's talk about that leather jacket. Their leather jackets were custom made by Dapper Dan in his studio in Harlem. But the leather jacket was designed by Christopher Martin, better known as Play of Kid and Play. They were all friends and worked together, and there was a time early in Salt-N-Pepa's career where someone was impersonating them. So they decided to make sure that no one will be able to pretend to be Salt-N-Pepa again. And that was why they made those jackets. Leather jackets had their logo on the back, S&P on the sleeve, icon maker on the front, along with a theater mask on the other side. Those jackets were very distinct, and they were one of a kind. Look was so hot because they came on the scene with an oversized jacket and cat suits, which was a juxtaposition of femininity and masculinity. Those jackets, along with the kente print accessories, along with the asymmetric hairstyles, along with the cat suits, along with the big earrings and the big gold chains, was a look.
Women in hip hop have been just as influential and innovative in their style as men. Early women that were rapping were wearing what the guys wore and then accentuating their style with accessories. So here is where you get the bamboo earrings, bangles, the baby hairs. We start then seeing groups like Salt-N-Pepa then having a hybrid where they're wearing lycra suits underneath their custom Dapper Dan jacket. And then when we get the next wave of women, someone like, let's say like a Little Kim, we see, the embracing of femininity, full throttle. I think a lot of it had to do with how female rappers had been embraced and how they were promoted and their images. And as their music evolved and as they soared, so did their personal style.
You're not accessorizing, you're actually programming your field. Welcome to day 2 of the 7-day frequency reset. I used to think that adornment was surface, something that you did after all the real work was over. But now I know it is the real work. Because every single piece that you place on your body, it says something. To your nervous system, to your field, and to the version of you that you're becoming. Now I wear gold when I need expansion and pearls when I need softness. And every day I wear a scent that reminds me I am holy. I touch my skin gently, not to critique it, but to remind it that it's always safe with me. I say that I'm the woman that I'm waiting for, and I don't just say it, I let it land. Always remind yourself of who you are, because adornment isn't shallow, it's sacred.
You were probably taught that adorning yourself is vanity, that caring for your beauty was shallow, that a truly spiritual woman should be beyond such things. That was a lie, and a deliberate one at that. In the ancient world where the matriarchy ruled, in times of the goddess cults, adornment was a talismanic act. Priestesses of Ashera wore gold, their wrists and ankles, lapis lazuli, vulva pendants, that consecrated this seat of their holy power. The body beautified was the body brought into alignment of the goddess. Adornment was not decoration. It was devotion. When a woman reclaims her beauty, her sacred adornment, she stops adorning for external approval and starts adorning for self-consecration, a daily declaration that her body is holy. This is one of the oldest feminine spiritual practices to exist, and it is waiting for you to reclaim it.
Before I got into spirituality and I was still, fucked up about Christianity and all of that in the third, it was always funny to me watching the spiritualists walk around with all their jewelry, their head wraps, the waist beads. It wasn't funny, it was just peculiar, I guess is a better word. I always looked at it like, what is the point? What's the purpose? And mainly because that's what my mama used to think or say. And so, of course, I adopted that ideology. I remember when I first started getting into adorning myself, it was when I was deliberately trying to love on my body. I got a specific thing from her where she was just like, what you trying to do, look rich? No, I'm trying to honor my Ori. Anyway, and so that belief blocked me from being able to comprehend what the actual point of everything was, because I just went ahead and put the rest of my rings on. There's a reason why all of that stuff is done. Why we wear our head wraps, why we wear our jewelry, why we do specific jewels instead of another. I mean, not jewels, but metals instead of another. When it comes down to becoming the person that you're supposed to be, that you're aiming towards, there's a certain frequency that that person lives on, and you have to maintain that in order for you to be able to maintain that energy. Now, realistically, if you're solid enough in your energy and your power, you won't need the head wrap and jewels and whatever else. But I do want to say that that is preparation until you get there. And so while also just understanding that at the end of the day, your body is your ultimate altar. You can create one outside of yourself, but how you adorn, protect, and take care, this nail is taking me. And how you take care of yourself is truly how you're able to rise to the frequency it is that you're looking for.
In our reality, you don't even really need a self-love altar because you are the altar. The way that you adorn yourself, the way that you cleanse and purify yourself, the way that you speak into yourself, the way that you take them oils and you lather yourself up in the mirror and you sing yourself love songs and you dance and you create and you honor yourself and you beautify yourself and you take care of yourself and maintain your energy. You are the altar. The colors that you wear, the things that you say, the way that you think about yourself, the way that you show up for yourself, the energy and effort you pour into making yourself the best version of you. You are the altar.
This is my void. That's what I call it. I call it my void. This is a basket on the moon. It's a place to send things that you can't forget, but you don't want to hold on to. Trauma. This is a doorbell, essentially. I call it my portal. It's a gong in a doorway. It's a reminder that you always have access to your ancestors. It's pretty. It's hagwa. It's not henna. I'm allergic to henna. It's hagwa, but it's uli motifs. I have Nigerian ancestry. It's a basket on the moon and a gong in a doorway. That's why I chose this, because of my ancestry and my allergies.
I just want to tell you that if you're in a bad mood, like miserable, no energy, can't get your head off the pillow, thinking negative thoughts, can't get it together, take a look at what you're wearing. Because you might be like wearing beige and or just all dark colors, and it's just not, like, of course you're in a bad mood. Of course you're in a bad mood. Of course, just try putting on like a nice crisp white t-shirt or a color that excites you. If beige excites you, like try a different color, you know, maybe something vibrant, maybe a cute pastel, you know. I just bumped into a TikTok where this lady was talking about how outfits can change people's perception of you, but also change your perception of your day. And it is so true. So, you know, think about that, because what you put on your body completely affects your mood and your perspective. All right. So go grab that yellow hoodie.
These are the colors that you should wear to improve your mental health. I asked my good friend Carly Cushney, a designer and fashion expert, to weigh in. You want to wear blue when you're anxious because blue is very calming and it's self-soothing. When you're feeling down and dysphoric, you want to wear yellow because it's very optimistic. When you're having low self-confidence, you want to wear red because it emboldens you. If you're feeling manic and dysregulated, earth tones are excellent because they keep you grounded.
Here's why wearing orange can help with your mental health. The colour orange is a combination of red and yellow. Red is said to be energizing, exciting and motivating, and yellow is associated with sunshine and happiness. So orange essentially combines both to project enthusiasm, boost creativity and promote a fun, confident outlook. It is also believed to boost optimism and have uplifting effects. So if you want to feel confident, energetic and have an overall boost in emotions, I would recommend wearing orange.
This is fashion color psychology for orange. Orange combines the energy of red and the happiness of yellow, so wearing orange makes you appear confident and fun. Orange stimulates creativity and is a highly attention-grabbing color, hence used for road signs, so it would be a good color to wear in moderation. Wearing orange shows that you're friendly and energetic, but it can also signify immaturity, so I would avoid wearing orange if you're trying to look professional.
What I love about the color orange is that it combines the passion of red and the joy of yellow. So it encourages an emotional balance, which is why orange makes for a beautiful color to set the intention of creating, imagining, inspiring. These are all things that you would want to do from a place of balance, of joy and passion.
Mira, while you're at home watching the news saying, I'm so stressed with everything in the world. This vato here is twirling his ballerina. Mira, se va a marear, pero no le hace chiquitita. ¿Qué hubo? Ponte los tangerine mandarin zapatitos que me gustan, mamazota. Mira, pintó la noche, güey, meneando el bote. Mira, puro party. Meanwhile, you're at home. My vieja's not texting me. I don't know. And you're drinking your pinche soy milk and eating soy rizo. Meanwhile, this vato's hyped up on testosterone. Mira, pura carne asada, puro pinche tortilla de maíz hecha a mano. ¿Qué hubo?
You know, functional freeze is everywhere for those with eyes to see. Truly. I feel like we don't talk enough about how much functional freeze shows up in almost every facet of your life, even in how you dress. Maybe this will be another installment of Black Ain't Alone. Because it's apt. We already know. I live alone. I work from home. I don't get out much. I'm not clubbing it up like I used to. She's no longer dropping it like it's reasonably warm. No. So I don't really have to put in a lot of effort into the way I dress. It's a gift and a curse. I realized this when I was spring cleaning the other day. I was just going through everything. And I came across this old t-shirt that I used to have back when I was on the dance team in 3rd grade. I was a very large child, but it reminded me how far I've come and also how much I have. And by that, I mean clothes. I have so many clothes, but you wouldn't know that by just looking at me because somehow I find myself wearing the same exact 3 t-shirts and basketball shorts every day. I'm pretty sure I wore this the last time I did one of these. Mind you, that was last month and I do own a washing machine, so it's clean. Yeah, it's clean. But I've accumulated so many outfits, so many looks, and I still somehow dress like somebody lost my luggage and I'm just doing the very best I can. And I would like to change that. I can do better. And because I can, I will. I shall. For instance, if I am going to lounge around, why can't it be a nice little faux silk set? Now, do I look like the 23rd of loneliness? A little bit, but that is still an upgrade. Or maybe something like this. You know, it's fun. I feel like a long-lost cheetah sister, you know? Or a Spice Girls reject. Which Spice would I be? Time. Nope, that's not how it works. Or, hear me out, no sleeves. Okay, summer is coming. I feel like a sexy bag of melted Skittles. Now, I have this because one year for Halloween, I couldn't decide if I wanted to go as Pootie Tang or Raven Baxter. With a change of a wig, the wardrobe is surprisingly similar. Tight pants, funky blouses, the love for fuzzy accoutrement. It's a good time. Whew. I look insane. Feather. Now, do I have anywhere to wear these to? No. But doesn't mean I shouldn't enjoy them. Or maybe I'll just stick with my little regular one too. Could be for the best. You know, for everybody. Maybe what I got on ain't too bad. There's nothing wrong with being an outfit repeater. Lizzie McGuire would be proud.
This is what I wore to listen to people's problems. I'm Marilupe. I'm a mental health therapist, but I'm also fashion obsessed. And I greatly value how much fashion has an impact in our mental health. Mental health therapist myself, if I don't feel good in front of a patient, I'm not going to be able to serve them well. I value comfort, but I really want to look cute too. For today's outfit, I have these petite studio trousers. I love them. They're the perfect height because they're for petite women like me. I'm 5'2". I be short. This is an Alice and Olivia sort of jacket, but I wear it as a top most of the time because I like it closed. I got it on super sale. Don't buy anything full price. I'm wearing my Jimmy Choo loafers that I also got on super sale. They are super cute. They match my top really well. So I got like a little bit of, you know, breaking up the outfit a little bit. My favorite part are my socks. Look it. Look it. The thing is that when I sit down, everyone can see my socks and I can see my socks. And they give me serotonin. Most of the time, my patients will be like, cool socks. And I'll be like, I know. I don't typically dress in all black or all black and white. So adding a pop of color like funky socks is my go-to. I'll also balance it out with a bright red lip, which is now kind of faded because I just got home from work. I talk for a living, so my lipstick kind of disappears on me eventually. Dressing for your mood is key if you want to feel good all day long. No matter the setting you're going to, focus on your mood first. How are you feeling today? Are you tired? Are you sleepy? Are you hungry? Are you going to be dealing with a lot of people? And then base your outfit off of that. That doesn't mean you can't look cute. Look how cute I look. Praises herself. You know what? I feel cute. Don't forget, the best outfit is the one that feels like you.
Use fashion to process your trauma. We're on day 17 of 365 Days of Fashion with me, Latiana, your fashion therapist, and I'm here to talk about how I use this in the therapy room as a therapist personally. I typically use evidence-based practices, but I love using creative arts. So when it comes to exposure therapy and processing your trauma and retelling your story and being able to tolerate the distress while you're kind of talking about it, this technique of using a fashion outfit of the time that you do remember to bring it into the room, to really talk about the outfit and to process it using exposure therapy. I had them tell a story, kind of externalizing it out so they're not putting themselves back into it. So they have a safe distance to talk about it as they go through exposure therapy.
Your dream career might be hiding in the most unexpected places. Mine was in the mental health field, and surprisingly, that's what made me a better fashion designer. But here's the problem. So many people make it seem like there's one blueprint to achieve success as a fashion designer. Go to fashion school, intern for specific brands, then get a job after school, climb the corporate ladder, and build for 10 years. Today, I want to drop some gems on y'all because my story is far from that. At the end of high school, I gave up my basketball dreams, and then I transitioned to FRT to study production management for 4 years. And while I was doing that, I was modeling for brands like Air Jordan, Converse, 10 Deep, Hood by Air, and more. Then I took the initiative to learn how to sew without taking any sewing classes. And when people told me that corporate fashion was the only way to move forward, I did the complete opposite. A lot of people don't know, but after school, it's really hard to get a job in the fashion industry. And trust me, I was applying to a lot of jobs. But when I wasn't getting callbacks right away, I looked at it as redirection. I went into the mental health field and I began working with autistic adults at a day program called QSAC, Quality Services for Autism Community. And then after a while, I began working with schizophrenic adults, and I even got certified to administer medication. Every day after work, I would drive from Long Island to Jamaica, Queens, hop on the Long Island Railroad to Penn Station, and then spend my nights in the sewing labs at FRT until 1 a.m. Then I'll hop back on the train to Queens, drive back home to Long Island, and then wake up for work the next day again. 5 days a week for half of a year. Why was I doing this? Because I promised myself I'd launch my first collection in 2019. I ain't gonna lie, that was the turning point of my career. But here's the truth though. Working in the mental health field taught me perspectives that fashion school never did. Number one, it taught me to appreciate the little things. Even a smile at the end of your day, a breakthrough, even a moment of connection with a human being. Working with autistic adults taught me how to slow down. It taught me how to be patient and figure out new ways to communicate with different people. Those things amplified my perspective of my fashion design process. Every detail and every milestone matters. Number two, expanding my mindset. Working with schizophrenic adults taught me that there's more than one way to perceive reality. Surprisingly, that shifted everything for me as a fashion designer, and I learned the importance of being of service to others. Working there also taught me the importance of pouring into our own mental health and making sure that we acknowledge the things that we've been through. Working there shifted everything for me as a designer. I wasn't just looking at fashion design as making products. It's about creating new perspectives and reimagining what's possible. Lesson number 3, fashion design became healing. Psychology has shown that self-expression is therapeutic. Working in the mental health field allowed me to see firsthand how creativity can brighten up somebody's day. For real. That's why I would never say that there's one path to success. Mine was non-linear, and that's exactly why I was able to develop my first collection and expand my brand. Because fashion is not just about making clothes. It's about building connection and finding peace of mind. So, if you're watching this, remember, your path doesn't have to look like anybody else's, not even mine. Matter of fact, the detours might be the exact thing that gives your work more depth.
I want to remind you that trauma is not just about what happened to you. Trauma is about what happened inside of you. It's not just the moment you experienced, but it's about the way that your nervous system processed that experience. And if your nervous system was overwhelmed, then it affected every part of your body and your being. But I want to give you the encouragement that if the harm happens through experience, the healing can happen through experience. God gave our brains this incredible ability called neuroplasticity, which is the ability for the brain to be reshaped through experiences. So sometimes you don't need new words to encourage you that will bring safety. You need new experiences that can reshape the brain, rewire the nervous system, and reverse some of the effects of the harm that you've experienced in the past.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you? You doing okay? Just wanted to check in. There's like tons of storms and wild weather right now. And it made me think about our emotional and mental weather, right? Sometimes huge storms comes in our lives and we're unprepared and we don't emotionally or mentally dress accordingly. And so I wanted to remind you to dress accordingly. The same way you wouldn't go out into a storm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. Don't go out into the world without the correct armor or emotional and mental clothing on, okay? If today is rough, if this week is rough, and you need head to toe armor front to back to protect yourself, do that. Do that, okay? If things are okay and you can weather some things and just kind of a light emotional sweater, that's okay too. No matter what it is, I need you to emotionally and mentally dress accordingly. You've got this. So good to see you.